Johnny Depp makes his girlfriend swallow Plan B and wins an Academy Award for Best Animated Film. This is spoilers.
Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear.
Hey everybody, this is spoilers. Today we are reviewing the classic 2011 film and Academy Award winner for Best Animated Film.
You already said that.
I know.
Reiterate.
Rango. Rango is the movie.
Rango.
That is the dulcet, silky tones of Pap.
Hello.
Pappy, I think you're calling in from Colorado tonight. You were just on a trip to the Midwest. How did that go?
It went really well. Yeah, back from the Midwest. I've missed a couple spoilers in the row. Been busy, got a new job, got a bunch of stuff going on. My sister graduated college, so but happy to be on a movie review episode again and back in Colorado.
Good to have you back. Congrats to Kelsey.
She's a doctor.
She's a doctor. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Who's up next? Josh, you were just changing a flag like 2 minutes ago. What? Why?
Let's get hype. This is Josh, fresh off of like 25 Game of Thrones episodes. Cue that Game of Thrones sweet music, maybe not.
Wiener, wiener, wiener.
It's been a tough day. Like I worked and then had to mow and then had to change his flat tire, and my brother is being really mean to me, so it's been a rough day.
Oh wow, you had to be an adult today, Josh. Wow, congratulations.
No sympathy
Except for
Josh.
Now it's time to be a kid on spoilers.
Mikey, I feel like you're the kind of guy that would wear that Hawaiian shirt like Rango has on early in the movie.
I've got a shirt like that, except it's got motorcycles on it. So I got one of those.
How often do you wear that shirt?
Not that often. When it's hot. When it's super hot.
And
Whenever there's a wedding or a funeral.
Not enough.
Last but certainly not least, Brett. Brett, how's it going, man?
It's going fine, man. I had to like work today and watch a movie today. It's been a tough
Some
day.
computer trouble today.
It's been real tough. I know.
It's a rough time, you know. It's a good thing this holiday weekend's coming up. And it's a good
True
thing
that.
that the movie you got to watch was such a great classic film.
Academy Award winner. Rango.
Welcome, amigo, to the land without end. The desert and death are the closest of friends. We sing of his courage in magnificent song, but pay close attention, he won't be here long. Here in the Mojave Desert, animals have had millions of years to adapt to the harsh environment. But the lizard is going to die.
So we start off with Johnny Depp as a random pet chameleon. Mikey, do you want to kind of take us through the intro here? I know we can kind of fly through it pretty quickly, but kind of the setup here. Can you take us through that?
Yeah, Rango is a lizard, and we don't know this yet, but he's in an aquarium type case, and he's performing a play with a plastic mannequin doll, a plastic Barbie doll with no head, and a palm tree and a dead cricket. So he's kind of like lost in his own world, trying to put on a play. He's the director of this play.
I didn't think about this until today, but I think this movie might be about like a drama nerd being actually cool in the end.
Yeah.
Like made by weirdos for drama nerds.
Jordan, could I back up a second? Because before anything happens, Nickelodeon Movies pops up, like their logo.
Ooh, yeah, that was real disappointing to see. That was scary.
I was expecting a certain thing, and then in this first scene when he's like doing his play, he looks at this like half-body mannequin nude thing, and he's like, "Are those real?" And I was like, "What kind of movie is this?"
Hola. I couldn't help but notice you noticing me noticing you. You know, the women's find me uncomfortably good looking, but you seem remarkably at ease. Oh, stop it.
No, really. Well, you must. What are you doing? That tickles. Are those real?
I saw later on that there were like over 60 instances of them smoking tobacco, and there was like a huge thing from anti-tobacco groups.
Yeah, but those people are lame, so nobody cares about that. They wanted to be R-rated.
Well, I think it's that, and I mean, they drink alcohol as well.
Guns, people die.
Guns, violence, yeah, like actual death.
Someone dies from falling down a well drunk.
He tries to kill himself at one point. It's pretty rough.
Fear and Loathing is in there, and there's a whole lot of drugs in that one.
I love it. I love how dark it is. It's like animation can be so bland, and like because it's such an expensive gamble. But like, I like how dark this went. That's one of the things I kind of liked about it.
We haven't seen a movie this dark since Treasure Planet.
This is way better than Treasure Planet. Right?
Yeah, it is for sure.
Oh, we'll get into it.
Get into it, we will. And actually, I think maybe before we even see the chameleon, I think we get our first glimpse of kind of the storytelling owls that are kind of a mariachi band. Brett, they kind of interject a few times. What are your thoughts here this first time you see them?
I mean, they're pretty funny. I immediately thought of Jungle Book. I don't know. It's like way different than Jungle Book, but like the singing side characters that are like involved but not involved in the story. I also thought of Desperado. I thought of Desperado like 100 times during this movie. Maybe when I saw the half-naked Barbie, I thought of Salma Hayek and Desperado. I don't know, but but they were funny. I like narrators like that, and they were like mostly out of the story, but they would interject every once in a while. It's pretty cool. I like that kind of stuff.
Their first story was kind of cringy because they're like, enjoy your popcorn and soda. But I like how they're always predicting Rango's death.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert at the end. Like,
I thought he was going to die. Yeah, I thought he was going to die. And it's like, it's going to be so sad.
Eventually, he is going to die.
Yeah, that's funny.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, it was good.
One of the birds is kind of impatient about it, too, later. He's like, is he going to die soon or what?
So, yeah, as Mikey said, we meet a chameleon that is in like a little terrarium, and he like pops out of a vehicle and slides around on some glass and somehow lives through a crash, and he gets kind of like blown around by some cars a little bit, and then he meets Josh, I want to throw it to you on this. Who does he meet in the road there?
He meets what should certainly be a dead old armadillo.
So dead.
It's split in half because it got ran over by a car, and he has this weird I think this is kind of like a Harbinger character sort of idea. He's like, you must cross the road to blah blah blah, and that's kind of like a metaphor or something.
Oh, I need a little help here.
Are you okay?
I must get to the other side.
The other side? You mean that just now? That was you crossing the road? That's why Why'd you do that?
This is my quest. He waits for me.
What? Who?
The spirit of the West, amigo. The one. They say he rides an alabaster carriage with golden guardians to protect him.
What are you talking about?
Enlightenment. We are nothing without it.
This is also the first time you hear the name of the town that the majority of the movie will take place in, which is Dirt. And he's kind of using that as a metaphor here, too. He's like, walk that way till you get to Dirt.
The armadillo straight up says, like, it's a metaphor right before Rango gets taken away by the trucks.
Hey, Pappy, is this 3 movie club for Alfred Molina, or?
I think so.
At least 3.
It's
Raiders, Ralph, and this one.
I'll double check that. It's 2 movie Gore Verbinski club. This and A Cure for Wellness, which is not so good. But yeah, let me check on Alfred Molina real quick.
Harry Dean Stanton's like 2 movie club. Somebody else's 3 movie club. Who was that? Sorry, you guys go ahead.
Isla Fisher is at least 2.
Ray Winstone.
I know
Winstone.
this is our fans. This is our fans' favorite part of our podcast when we talk about how the
How
movie
many
club.
movies? We've done so many movies.
In spoilers lore.
So he's looking for water because all the water in his terrarium evaporates pretty quickly. So he gets sent to, or he goes looking for dirt, as the armadillo tells him, and he gets in pretty quick. And he gets chased by a hawk on his way. We'll skip past that. It's gets over pretty quickly. He goes into town and kind of dresses up as he sees it's kind of a westerny town. He gets made fun of by some kids, so he kind of like changes his getup.
Just that in the Hawk scene, the guy who he's like trying to survive with, it's actually the guy in Superbad who's working at the liquor store who hates his life.
No. Is it really?
Yeah, it is.
Brett, I'm glad you backed it up too, because one of my favorite shots of the movie is when his aquarium dries up and he like completely dries out and molts twice in a row.
Yeah, no, dude, that made me laugh. Like the double molting, I was like, holy crap, that's funny. Yeah, that was really funny. Sorry,
No.
I know that we love that guy in Superbad. Yeah, Joe Nunez.
Two Movie Club.
Yeah, I checked to see if he's in more. He is not in a lot of things.
I swear in this movie, when the Hawk takes him away, he's like, fuck you! Like, did he actually say that?
I don't think so.
He's like, you son of a... And then the Hawk screeches or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
The Hawk screeches there.
Madre de Dios! I'll kill you! You stupid lizard! Get out of there! I'm gonna strangle your huevos! No, please! I was just kidding! Come on! What's wrong? I don't know you! Lizards, frogs! We're practically related! Come on! I let you kiss my sister! You son of a...
I watched the making of too, and like the way that they filmed a lot of the dialogue scenes is they had the actors like in like a live action studio setting, like in kind of loose costume, interacting with each other, and they just had like these kind of like boom mics like reaching down. And it's like Johnny Depp was interacting with the guy from Superbad, like doing this whole scene, and that's the dialogue that made it to the film.
Awesome.
It was really cool.
That's awesome.
I guess they did that in Shark's Tale too. I never watched that movie, but
Not as well.
Do they have video of that, Pappy?
Yeah. If you like,
That's great.
on YouTube, it's like Rango making of.
Yeah.
It shows up a little bit down the list.
I gotta check that out. So then our next kind of interjection by the owls, as we see Rango kind of introduce himself, and he meets the girl here, and the owls give us a warning about the woman. Pap, can you kind of walk us through this next little part here?
Yeah, so he runs into Beans, who has this kind of like weird disassociating thing where anytime anything like traumatic in her past gets brought up or something kind of like anxiety producing, she like turns into a lizard and like freezes. But Rango finds his way into town, and he kind of finds that the town is in pretty dire straits. The bank's running dry, and Beans is after some money, right, for her ranch, but they're not giving out credits anymore at the bank.
Right. Well, the money is water.
Right. Yeah. Money is agua.
I gotta say, this is. I was watching this with Kirsten, my fiance, and she lost it at this point, where she was like, "I get that they can like live together in a town, but once you start introducing like monetary systems, it's too much. It's too much." And she like left the room. What? That's what pushed it over the edge for her. I'm
It's
very
an abomination
confused.
to God.
She could not stand it. Yeah. So
Well, we've talked about currency a lot, like in Star Wars, and how it can be really funny in movies.
So yeah, it kind of introduces the idea that like water is scarce and kind of is used as their money system. Rango also kind of he goes to the local bar, and he runs into Ray Winstone. Brett, your boy Ray Winstone here. What's his name? Billy Bob or something like that.
Bad Bill or something.
Yeah, Bad Bill. What's his deal here in the bar?
3 Movie Club.
He's just a bully. He's the leader of a little gang of outlaws, and they're beating the crap out of somebody. And he comes in, and he's like, "Who are you?" And man, this is funny. I thought this was funny too. Like, he's trying to not. God, how's he start him on fire the first time? He takes a match.
He eats his
swallows
cigar.
it. Yeah.
He
then
takes a
takes a
cigar,
shot
then he
and
takes the
burps
cactus
on him.
juice. And then he just keeps like trying to put him out, but he just keeps making him more on fire. So pretty much Bad Bill takes him outside, and they're going to do a, what the heck are those called?
He doesn't say anything to him. He just slides a gun over to him.
Yeah, slides the gun over to him. Yeah, this is after he tells the story and stuff. So
they go out one bullet.
They're about to do a duel, and the bird comes down, and everyone freaks out. Rango doesn't really know what's going on.
Yeah, the hawk comes back, and Rango kind of runs around the town, and it's like a big obstacle course for him. And I think he ends up
kills it.
Yeah, he like kills it, and in the process of killing it, he pulls down their like big water tower, and the townsfolk realize that the water tower is empty. It's totally dry. So everybody's really suspicious. Mikey, they go to the like water bank thing soon here. What do they find there?
So does Beans go to the bank? I think she wants to. Yeah, she's going to the bank because she needs credit, and then she finds out that there's no water in the bank, no reserves either, so she's freaking out because she, I guess, has fields, and she can't do anything with the fields on her farm, so she's pretty much screwed. She's going to lose the farm if she can't get any more water.
It just don't make no sense. This whole town is drying up, and the mayor is the only one who don't seem to be affected. Didn't that make you just a wee bit suspicious? And what about that water I saw out in the desert?
All right. No need to incite anxiety. I'll inquire about the mayor. But if you really feel there's some conspiracy occurring, I suggest you take it up with the new sheriff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's a big uproar, and somewhere in here they appoint Rango as sheriff because he's a badass, and he's told all these stories, and he's kind of like building his legend as they go.
But really, because the mayor just wants someone to walk on, right?
Yeah, it seems like it.
That's true. And yeah, in the process, we get introduced to the mayor, who I thought at first was the Big Lebowski from the Big Lebowski, but it ends up being
Ned Beatty.
Yeah, it ends up being the like
Classic.
senator guy from Shooter, who I think is also a pretty kind of pegged character actor, evil guy.
Speaking of pegged, he's the
What?
That was funny though. That's funny. He's the guy from Deliverance. I'll just say that, who has to squeal like a pig.
Ah, jeez.
One of the greatest actors ever lived. One movie club. The guy who squeals like a piggy.
I love Ned Beatty. He's got like 240 credits or something like that. 224. Go ahead.
So yeah, we meet the mayor. Josh, you want to tell us a little bit about the mayor, who is definitely not the Big Lebowski?
Yeah, well, spoilers, mayor end up being the big bad. He's just kind of a Weasley guy from the beginning. Like, we first meet him, and he's pouring himself a big glass of water. And it's the first glass of water I think we've actually seen someone successfully drink or use so far. And
it doesn't dry out before it hits his tongue.
Yeah. And he doesn't pour Rango a glass. So Rango goes to pour his own glass, and then he drops the whole bottle, and it breaks. Rango wastes so much water in this movie.
Private stock. You forgot the part where he looks at Rango and says, "Are you employed, sir?"
Sure.
Get a job. The bum's lost.
I don't know. What else is there to say, Jordan? He's kind of like Bowser from Mario.
He does look a little bit like Bowser.
They're treating it like wine, though. He's like, "This is my private stock," and like pouring it out like it's wine. So
yeah, he makes a comment about like if you can control water, you can control everyone. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I guess going back to, as you said, Brett, he wastes a bunch of water. Going back to the bank, when they go to the bank, there's only like, I don't know, like the dregs left in the jug, and Rango drinks like 3 times his body weight of water while they're watching him. Yeah.
You want to take a drink.
Then we all take drinks, and
you take a double shot.
Thank goodness you're here, Sheriff. Things were getting out of hand. Oh, come right in, Joe.
All right, now, let me have a gander at the source of the societal discontentment here. All right, listen up. I've been thinking, and I believe I've figured something out. You folks have a water problem.
So yeah, they go on a kind of, they're going to go investigate what happened to the water. They're also trying to track some moles that they think have stolen the water, and they kind of
wait, the Pappy character, the titular Pappy, yeah. There's an old mole whose nose looks very phallic, and he is blind, and he's backed up by these other family of moles who end up kind of coming into play later. But they're trying to rob the bank, and they're like, Rango writes him a permit for prospecting, and gives him equipment, and tells him where exactly the water is. So, just significant because there is a Pappy mention of a character in this film.
Harry Dean Stanton.
4 movie clubs.
So fill me in, Jordan. They go in there to steal water from the bank, but the mayor had already taken it?
That's my understanding, yeah.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, he definitely took
Well,
it.
that's kind of the next plot beat, isn't it?
Yeah. So the moles granted the permit by Rango to continue prospecting. The moles go in and they steal the water. The townsfolk realize that what was left of their water is gone, and so Rango kind of forms a posse and they go looking for the moles. Josh kind of skipped ahead a few beats here. So they go to find the moles, and my understanding is that they live with like a bunch of prairie dogs and stuff. There's a bunch of like burrows and things like that out in the desert. Mikey, do you want to take us through the chase scene here?
Well, they got to form a plan. I guess they somehow see spot the moles or whatever, wherever they live. But they form a plan of being a theatrical group. So they're just
traveling.
Yeah, so they just show up and start performing a show.
Ooh, to further Jordan's theory.
Exactly.
And Rango what is he doing? It's not any particular story. They're just kind of freestyling, and they're waiting for another guy at the top of the canyon to send off a signal if anything goes wrong. And so they're all kind of sitting around waiting for this signal, and nothing's happening. And the guy is trying his hardest to set off all of these different signals, and he just kind of passes out from like a heart attack or something, and accidentally shoots off his gun, and it freaks out not a horse. It's I don't know what it is. It's just a random animal carrying the water, and it kind of loses its mind and knocks everybody over.
I think one of my favorite parts of the movie that made me laugh was when they started doing the play, and the Pappy's like, "Oh, this plot is so predictable," and the son's like, "Right, this is my favorite part." And like Mikey said, they're like, it's not a real play. They're just making stuff up. Yeah. I thought that was really funny.
I love the bird who has an arrow like through his skull and through his brain. Like, everyone just like pretends like it's not there.
Hey, got it! Pound of water.
You did it, son.
Well, actually,
why can't you be all ready like your brother?
Happy about that water. There's something I got to tell you.
Hush up now. Somebody's coming. Woohoo! Ha-ha! Good son. Gracious good afternoon to thee and thee and thee. May I present Madame Lupo's Terpsichorean troupe of traveling thespians? What is that?
I think they's thespians.
Thespians? That's illegal in 7 states.
There's a part a little before this while they're like traveling to find these moles where like they're sitting around a campfire, and there's this one line that I lost my shit. It's like this this mole was like, "I once found a whole spinal column in my feces," or something. It's like, what?
The whole mole thing is definitely like, I'm not gonna like call out a state, but there's a state like south of where we are that I think that's definitely what they're doing, because like they did make a joke about inbreeding, and they say something about the gene pool, and I think that's definitely, I think those are supposed to be like all their kids, so I think that's definitely an inbreeding joke. Just pick your southern state.
I think all of like the characters are like perfect too, because like the moles are kind of shady, and like the one's blind. The turtle, who's the mayor, has like been there for a while, so he has like some like, insider knowledge. Like the character design is like really awesome. That's like a huge part of like, you know, making an animated movie is like, what will these characters look like? And they killed it. I love it. It's dark.
They killed it with the snake.
The snake.
We'll get to that. The snake is so cool looking.
The snake has the eyes of Sauron, like super scary.
Dude, everything about him was awesome. We'll get to him, I guess.
I'm pretty sure that bird you guys are talking about with the arrow through the head, I think his name in the film is Badly Injured Bird, which is hilarious. But I was hoping when I looked up his name, it would be something like Phineas Gage, because he's the guy who like survived that like rail tie through the brain.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So it could happen.
Somewhere before this chase scene, we actually get like Rango and the posse, and I'm not sure what movie this is originally from, but like it shows a huge like sunset, and they're all like riding across the horizon.
Sunset Riders.
Is that what it's from? Oh
It's a
wait, the video
game.
game?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's one of the greatest video games of all time. Bury me with my money.
That's what that shot is from?
Blow you away.
That's Jordan's favorite Western movie is Sunset Riders.
You're not wrong.
Draw,
it's fucking
Pilgrim.
great.
God, I love that game.
So good.
I don't know what that's from. Maybe Papa.
Seven Samurai, probably. I think it's like OG that shot, but it's as old as movies are.
Yeah. It's a cool shot. And like Mikey said, they have this big plan, and kind of everything ends up going wrong until they end up kind of stealing away with the water, and they're getting chased by the moles who are like riding prairie dogs.
Oh gosh, so classic.
They're riding prairie dogs, and they're like riding bats up above them. So it's like a huge, like they're dive bombing and stuff.
The bats explode when they get shot.
Yeah, and they go down like fighter jets. Yeah.
So you mentioned Mad Max kind of pre-show, I think. What did you think about this chase scene here?
It's pretty fun. I mean, it's funny. Like you said, I don't know exactly what it's alluding to, but it's a lot of like classic movie chase amalgamations in one. And what is it, like Flight of the Valkyries? Is that the name of it?
Flight of the Valkyries, by Wagner.
Yeah, that's fucking hilarious because like the moles are riding bats, like a blind critter riding another blind critter. Very funny. I like it.
So yeah, they end up kind of like running off, not off of a cliff, but kind of running off their wheels. And the water jug tips over and it kind of rolls around. There's a nice slow-mo shot of Rango and Beans here as the like jug rolls above them. And it comes to a stop, and then everyone again realizes that it's completely empty, and the moles are quick to say like it was empty when we got it. We just like took it anyways. So none of it really makes sense, and Rango is starting to sense some kind of conspiracy. The townspeople actually come to lynch the moles. Josh, some more controversy here. There's a lynch mob.
The moles get thrown in jail. And yeah, the townsfolk, like, while they're waiting trial, they come and try to hang old Pappy.
Hey now. Hey now.
And I really thought the spoiler to this whole episode was going to be something about Pappy escapes jail or something like that. But
I have before I will again.
I don't know. I like the moles, and like everyone just like is so thirsty. I feel like you don't even hate the moles, even though they were trying to steal the water and they didn't get it. So like at this point in the movie, the mayor is really like, it's pretty clear. There's like this whole through line of like, Rango finding mud on boots, and like you see these footprints, and like he sees muddy boots in the mayor's office or something like. So I think at this point, when the moles are ruled out as not being like actually that bad, it's a little bit of a turning point in the movie.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think you're pretty quick to realize that like the moles are not like the true big bad of the movie. And this next scene kind of has Jake the Rattlesnake coming through. He gets called by the mayor and kind of comes through and confronts Rango and really just undresses him. Brett, I think you mentioned you mentioned the rattlesnake earlier, I believe. You want to take us through this little portion?
Rattlesnake Jake, who is played by Bill Nye, who I think is one of the awesomest people like ever. He's awesome in everything he does. So let's see. So Rango makes this big speech about as long as this sign's up here, I'll always, and then like all of a sudden the sign gets shot to crap. So, and you look and you see Rattlesnake Jake, who I think we mentioned earlier, I thought looked so cool. He's got this bullets wrapped around him and he's got his tail's like a machine gun.
Crazy.
And he pretty much just scares everyone and calls Rango out for being a liar. I don't know how he knows that stuff. Maybe the mayor told him, or it was weird because he said earlier in the movie that the snake was his brother. It was just really weird that the snake was all like called him brother like 5 times.
He was lying because Rango said he killed all of his brothers with one bullet.
7 brothers with one bullet.
Yeah, and then he called him out on it, so he knew he was lying.
I love that scene though, because like when Rango's telling that story, they're like, "That's only 6 brothers," and Rango's like, "Well, the last one died of infection," and then the crowd just goes crazy.
So he pretty much just tells them, "Get out of town, don't ever come back," and he pretty much does. He leaves, and I don't know, like you said, the snake with his eyes look like Sauron, and I just thought he looked really cool.
His voice is amazing. It's really intimidating.
Yeah. I think Brett has a point in that he is one of the smarter characters in the story. Like,
Rattlesnake.
Yeah, like all the townspeople fall for that stuff, hook, line, and sinker, but the snake, right? I mean, he sees through that and later kind of proves.
For sure.
Even like him being scared of the hawk, I think is kind of a sign that he's not an idiot.
I feel like if there's a Rango 2, he definitely would have been the villain. Because like the way they ended off, it's like from one legend to another. And it feels like it was like setting up for maybe something.
It's a good point.
No, I thought they were setting up for him and Rango teaming up because he kind of respected him.
Yeah, I think so too.
That would have been great. I would love that.
Well, like Mikey brought up the point, like his voice sounded really cool. And like Bill Nye's got such a voice that everyone recognizes, but I had such a hard time picking that voice out, even though I knew it was him, because he sounded like a gruff Western person, and he just sounded, like Mikey said, super intimidating.
Long time, brother. How you been keeping?
Oh, well, you know.
I hear you've been telling about how you killed all them Jenkins brothers with one bullet, wasn't it? Isn't that right? All these good folks here believe your little stories, don't they? Why, they believe you're just a stone killer, don't they? Seems these folks trust you. They think you're gonna save their little town. They think you're gonna save their little souls.
Just awesome, and they got all dark and everything whenever he was talking. It was really cool.
Yeah, the way they animated the snake too, it was like the only other thing we can compare it to is like Aladdin, the giant snake. But it's like even that was awesome, but this looks really, really cool. With this 3D animation.
It's a good call on the Aladdin snake, Mikey. So yeah, he kind of exposes Rango, and Rango ends up admitting that he didn't do all that stuff, that he had kind of built his legend around, and he kind of just walks out of town. He ends up meeting the armadillo guy again, and Roadkill, thank you. And kind of they talk a little bit, and Rango goes to, I think, off himself by crossing the road when it's super busy. I thought this was pretty dark too. Josh, as a man with children, would you Jesus, what the hell? How do you feel about kind of the dark themes in this movie, including potential suicide?
Yeah, so we talked about the Sam Elliott or like harbinger character of the armadillo, and so like this is the second beat that kind of hits on that in this movie, and this time is Rango's just like hopeless, and so he slowly walks out into traffic, and I think if my kids were watching this, they wouldn't be thinking suicide. They'd just be seeing the colors and stuff. But it's pretty clear that he's just like, I give up. And he was like hugging his like toy goldfish in the aquarium, which is actually a pretty sad moment. I thought.
Super sad, yeah. He makes it across and he faints. And somehow a bunch of roly-polies like go and crawl under him and carry him away.
Those are bros.
And he wakes up in like this, I don't know, it seems almost like a purgatory. Like it's this super bright white area. And all of a sudden there's a human man who is Clint Eastwood, but not Clint Eastwood's voice, unfortunately. Rango calls him the man with no name.
It's like if
Josh,
you're playing...
I'm going to come back to you as another...
Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah, as Timothy Oliphant, known for handsomeness and trying to get with Pam from The Office. Josh, as a lover of Westerns, this is like the stereotypical Western cowboy here. What does he tell Rango?
Doesn't he basically tell him, like... Okay, first of all, I just gotta admit that, like, when you're playing, like, a create a character in a game like Borderlands or something like that, it looks like someone was trying to create a character Clint Eastwood. So
Ears Max, nose Max.
I honestly don't even remember what he said. Mostly I remember him, like, hopping in his golf cart and riding away.
It's so weird that he has a golf cart
in the back.
But he's basically like, hey, you have to go save those people because that's who you are.
No man can walk out in his own story, Josh.
Oh, yeah, and he, like, draws the aquarium around him. Which, Jordan, that brings up a point, like, do you think he liked his life in the aquarium? Or, like, that's part of the backstory that isn't explained. Like, did he feel trapped in there, so he's ultimately glad to get out? Or was that just not an option anymore? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean... I wish we could throw to Stevie for an explanation here.
Exactly.
But
the way I see it,
the way that I would see it if I was Stevie is that he doesn't know any better. And I think that first scene, we kind of see him being a little bit crazy. Like he's been isolated for so long. He's surrounded by inanimate objects and he's like given personalities and stuff. And so I think he just doesn't know any better. But now that he's been exposed to all this stuff, I think he can never go back, right?
Back to fake people talking,
right?
Like back to that'd be like Tom Hanks going back to Wilson, like hanging out with him again after he's back in the USA, having a couple beers with Wilson.
That's literally the plot of The Hatchet 2, but yeah.
Oh, classic.
Are we just buying the fact that they understand each other, or is Rango hallucinating? How would a human talk to?
They speak the common tongue, Mikey.
He's the spirit of the West. He's like a...
Ooh, true.
He's fucking Clint Eastwood.
/ Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah.
I thought it was Clint Eastwood for the longest time.
I thought
I thought he did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Is that not copyright or likeness infringement, Pap?
I have no idea.
Hey, you're the creator of spoilers. Don't you keep us kind of high and dry as far as that stuff goes?
No, we violate fair use literally every week on this show.
We're playing top 100 hits right now.
Yeah, we're just publishing. But
if there's some Nickelodeon money at him, he's all right with it.
So
I'm sure he's fine.
Rango resolves to go back to his friends and help out the town. He kind of solves a mystery with the help of roadkill and these weird, like, crawling trees.
Walking cactus.
Yeah, which... are those based on anything real, Brett?
Oh, I don't know. It's probably maybe some, like, Old West lore, but no, I don't know. Ents. No, I don't know anything about cacti.
Ents.
Yeah, they're ants. They're
that's exactly what I was thinking when they were walking.
Yeah.
Ents are real.
Yeah, so he kind of goes about solving this mystery. He realizes that the cacti are crawling towards water, and he kind of follows their trail and leads him to a big pipe, and he sees like a huge, I think, human city down like in the next valley over.
Vegas.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So he sees Vegas, and they're like diverting a bunch of water from the desert, and he realizes that it's controlled by like an emergency valve that was letting water over to dirt. And apparently, and this wasn't completely clear to me, Josh, you kind of brought this up earlier, that the mayor has been like controlling the emergency valve. Is it any clearer for you now? What do you think of this little plot to kind of wind us down here?
The mayor is one of the, like I said, like the snake is one of the few like smart characters. The mayor is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so he just basically follows the water pipe back and like had split it off way away from the town. So he's just been diverting this water and trying to like get rich off of it. I'm not sure if this Vegas is like a lizard and critter Vegas or if it's like human Vegas though.
It looked human to me, but who knows?
Well, isn't that the point of the cameo in the beginning of the movie? The
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
Fear and Loathing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that and Johnny Depp, I guess, but...
So a turtle owns Vegas?
See, that's the thing I didn't really understand is what...
He's building something
he's
separate.
Buying land?
Yeah. I think he's trying to build a critter Vegas.
Yeah, I agree. And like, there's those prints by the control valve that match the prints that Rango saw earlier on those other boots or something. So that's how he knows it's like all related.
Yeah, there's a nice little Matthew McConaughey like dream sequence here where he kind of goes back through all the clues, like realizing, putting it all together. So he goes back to the town and he calls out Rattlesnake Jake to a duel because Rattlesnake Jake is about to kill Beans in brutal fucking fashion. And then Mikey, how does Rango win the day here?
Well, I just want to say that Beans and the snake scene is really, really good. He says some really scary stuff to Beans, like I want to watch you die and stuff like that.
Oof, yeah.
Do what he says, or by all the fires of the Black Pit, I'll squeeze them pretty brown eyes out of your skull. Now hold on, Jake. There's no need. Let me do my job. You brought me in, now we're gonna play this thing out to the end. Sign the damn paper, woman.
Go to hell.
Where do you think I come from? Look into my eyes. I wanna see you die.
And he's squeezing her, and Rango is finally walking into town, and he yells, Jake, I'm calling you out. And then the snake is like, oh, this day just got way more interesting. So he goes out there, and he confronts Rango. And then they're about to have a little duel, but Rango has a trick up his sleeve. And he's partnered with the moles again.
Yeah. He stops off to get the old mole lady to help him.
Yeah.
They're going to hang your pappy if you don't cooperate.
And then what happens here? Rango's trying to get Jake to stand over a certain like water valve. And then when he gives the signal, they're going to release the water valve and Jake is going to get blown away by the water.
Which Rango doesn't really get the lesson here. He's controlling the water now, so he controls everything.
Yeah.
Not to mention the moles like tear apart the major through line of the water valve to create that eruption effect, which seems to be really problematic.
It's going to
waste
waste so much.
Yeah.
This is our
And they've
Fortnite.
destroyed the town.
This is our Fortnite reference, though, because Pappy breaks out because there's like one of those airlifts, just like in Fortnite, goes underneath him, and him and the moles just like pounce up and paraglide out of there. It's awesome.
So yeah, they blast Jake up into the air and kind of out of town, as well as I think, or no, there's kind of another end sequence here, the second end. Pap, do you want to take us through this last little part? Because the mayor kind of survives, and he is able to force Rango into into the vault with Beans because he has Beans kind of hostage.
Exactly, yeah. And so the mayor's gonna drown Rango and Beans, and Rango's like, "Okay, I got a plan."
Yeah,
and he's screaming, "Help!" Like, yeah, and like, I think Johnny Depp's. I want to really commend Johnny Depp. I think it's like voice acting performance is really great.
Oh yeah, heck yeah.
Like a couple of times it sounds like really Depp-ish, but most of the time it's like I kind of forget it's Johnny Depp, and he's like really kind of being this like more high pitched, more vulnerable Rango guy. But especially when he's like screaming for help, he sounds like kind of like Kermit the Frog a little bit there. But so
Pappy, did any part of you wish that like in Beer Fest when they started drowning them that one of them just started like drinking
drinking the water?
It starts turning into like a funnel.
Literally impossible, but super funny.
You came back.
Ooh.
What was that?
No need to panic, but I think you just swallowed Plan B.
What?
Rango like has the bullet that was in the gun, the one bullet, and that like cracks the glass as the mayor betrays Jake the Snake, right?
Yeah. Rattlesnake Jake.
Mm-hmm.
And a super fucked up betrayal too.
Yeah, dude, that was like super dark too. Because he wants to kill all the gunslingers. It's like passe for him, and he's gonna turn over a new leaf and make a new blah blah blah. I did not want him to kill the snake, even though the snake was a bad guy.
Yeah,
he was cool.
Yeah, and so he ends up he like Heimlich maneuvers the bullet out of Bean's throat, and it cracks the glass, and water erupts and kind of disrupts the whole betrayal situation going on outside. What else do we have before the end? Any other big things? Rango's the hero.
Yeah, he lets Rattlesnake Jake go off with the mayor, and then he tips his cap to him, and
they kind of acknowledge each other as legends.
Well, it's great character design too, because that's like the only time you see the mayor turtle character like as a turtle on his back.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And he's like super vulnerable and like looks really weak, and it's like, you know, he's begging for his life. So that worked out really well.
Yeah.
Don't forget that Beans and Rango kiss.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and just general celebrations. I think we do get the payoff of the owls narrating and the whole joke with. They say he's going to die the whole movie, and then at the end they're like, well, he will die eventually.
Everyone dies eventually, kids.
I thought that was pretty brilliant. That was pretty awesome.
You're born alone, and believe me, you'll die alone.
And then I also think it's worth mentioning the end credit sequence is pretty cool. It's a lot of like animation, in like old westerny style, but it's also like clips of the owls like smashing their guitars on the ground and stuff. Just interesting. And then it also, I saw that the music is done by Hans Zimmer, which is pretty cool.
The score is awesome throughout this whole movie. It's very western, very true to a western.
Yeah,
it's great.
They had Wagner followed directly by Strauss, like with the Blue Danube or whatever. Back to back, those were really cool during the chase scene. But yeah, Hans Zimmer did a lot of the score and everything.
So any thoughts before we go to yeses or nos?
I know last week I gave you a bunch of shit for choosing this movie, and I think I might end up swallowing my words because I had a lot of fun watching this movie. I thought it was hilarious.
Everybody thought, oh, just another Western. Classic long move. Most people didn't even know it was a Western at the time. What the fuck is Rango?
The long father pulling strings.
But yeah, I think we'll go to yeses or nos. Let's go reverse order from what we did in the intro. No. So Brett, that makes you first. What do you think, man?
Yes. How do we lose Brett?
Dang you, Jordan.
Oh, he's taking a pee break. You called on him.
Oh, Brett.
Oh, no.
Okay, I'm standing in the bathroom.
Wasting good water, Brett. Come on.
My Yeah, this is a definite yes. This movie was really cool. I don't know what we're laughing about, but okay.
He's like, I'm pissing, but I'm going to power through this
No,
yes
I wasn't,
anyway.
I wasn't peeing anymore. I just got done, and I had to unmute both my things, so...
All right.
Okay, so, yeah. Yeah, this movie is probably the best Western since Young Guns, so... I mean, it was really funny. The animation was really cool. I don't know. I'm with Mikey. I mean, I think we all kind of like this movie, and we're all kind of like, oh, Jordan, an apology. So I apologize for laughing about your
that's not what it's about.
Yeah, you do.
No, but I really enjoyed it. I mean, I agree with everything everyone said. Like Pappy said, the voice acting was really cool. Johnny Depp's kind of like a natural at it. The design was really cool. Nickelodeon killed it, man. It's awesome. It's a little dark for PG, but I don't give a crap. So, definite yes.
Brett, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Are you, if you had to choose one, a Young Guns or a Tombstone guy?
Oh.
Tombstone.
Oh,
God.
Poor choice.
I've seen Tombstone like 8 times. I've seen Young Guns once. So,
all right. Next up.
They're both good, though, man. I like them.
Whatever, man. Next up, Mikey.
I choose Rango.
Mikey, I feel like Jesse Jackson right now in South Park. Go ahead, apologize.
Yeah, I gotta take back whatever I said last week. I loved this movie. It's actually really good. So it was hilarious, and yeah, like we said, the character design is really, really good. I love that Rattlesnake Jake. Well, that was a really interesting character. Kind of pissed we didn't see more of him because he was only in like the last 15 minutes. But yeah, I thought it was a great story too. And honestly, I kind of messed up this week. Split it in half, so I kind of like forgot some stuff. But there's just so many jokes in this. Like, there's like a joke every 10 seconds, so it's really, really funny and kind of hard to like remember everything because there's so much happening. Like every scene, so it's just a really funny movie, and I thought all the voice actors did a really good job too, and it looks great, so I give it a yes.
Apologize.
Thanks, Mikey. And yeah, Josh, I'm going to come to you last with kind of a question and throw it to you for your yes and no, but I think we talk a lot about movies that are kind of kids movies, but there's like the hidden jokes for adults. I don't even know if this is really a kids movie. It's like pretty dark in parts, and like Mikey said, there's a lot of really funny jokes that aren't just like kid laughs. How do you feel about all that?
Yeah, I think it did remind me of maybe like Muppets and Jim Henson, where like adults can really get it, and even maybe Looney Tunes a little bit. But yeah, this is a no for me. And it's mostly a reflection of you, Jordan. Like, you've been recusing yourself like a political figure from hosting recently. So then you actually entered the movie game and won, and we're all shocked and shook.
Rango!
And he like Googles animated Western, chooses Rango, and now everyone's kissing his ass about it. No. Screw
Yeah, how did you get to this choice? How'd you get to Rango?
Remember, he was gone for like 14 minutes.
Yeah, it took me a while.
Rango.
So this is a no for Jordan.
I'm glad that we're actually judging the movie on its merits. Pappy, you're up, man. It's all you.
Are we going to let that stand for real?
Fuck Josh.
Wait, so
Pappy,
what did Josh give it? Yes or no?
He said no.
He said no. Stupid. That's lame.
A no to Jordan.
Okay, so I got Johnny Depp.
He's trying to match my no ratio.
Yeah, Jordan has so many no's. His crappy emergency pick.
But I judge them all on their own merits.
I'm not going to let it go preserved. I'm sorry if I'm sorry. I'm not trying to cheat the system, but I'm not going to let it go preserved.
That's terrible.
It's a no dog.
It's awful.
East the Fisher 2 movie club. Alfred Molina 3 movie club. Ray Winstone 3 movie club, and Harry Dean Stanton, rest in peace, you glorious bastard, 4 movie club. Yeah, no, I was not on The Nice Guys, so I didn't have any judgment coming to this movie. I was an open book, and I fucking love this movie. I think it's.
Yeah.
I put together my 10 best animated films
11
of the decade, and I have this at number 6. I think it's one of the best.
Wow.
I really think it's one of the best animated films of the decade. The attention to detail is incredible. The vocal performances are incredible. Gore Verbinski, he's hit or miss, but he has a very specific attention to detail, which shows throughout this movie, and I fucking love it. So I like dark Johnny Depp, kind of crunchy humor. So hard yes for Pappy.
Nice.
Pappy character.
Pappy, you mentioned attention to detail a couple times there. What's like example of that specifically? Like, what do you mean?
Well, we touch on like I feel like the characters, like those desert characters, are very aptly assigned. Like the turtle being the mayor, and like even Rango kind of like trying to fit in. A chameleon can like change colors. So I thought that was like a cool like character choice, and like even like the attention. What's the name of the town? Like the way the town
Dirt.
The way Dirt looks is like really really cool, and it's like kind of like Chantilly build together, and it feels like kind of like the westerns are trying to like pay homage to like the High Noon or like any of those Clint Eastwood westerns. Like I really love the way the whole like production design looks, and I wish we got sequels to this because I would fucking get down for a Rango 2 without question.
By the way, Jordan, I thought both the cactus like gags were really funny early on. When he's like trying to hide from the bird and he goes right into the cactus, and then they throw him the cactus juice later and he grabs it. Yeah, I thought both those gags were pretty funny.
Yeah, this is going to be a yes for me as well. I agree with everything that Pappy said. I also have like a weird thing for movies where like the characters that are animals do weird quirky animal stuff. So like Beans freezing and the molting, like from that somebody mentioned earlier, like that stuff cracks me up. So I
love Rango's crooked neck.
Yeah, that's really good too. I was really worried at first, like, because the movie poster is this way, and the initial 10-15 minutes are kind of this way too. I thought it was going to be like 90% just a huge close up on Rango's face and weird fucking eyes, but it gets away from that, and I was surprised at how good the movie was. When I looked up cartoon westerns, I was not expecting a lot, and this was better than I thought it would be. So yeah, it's a yes.
So was this at the top of the list that you Googled?
Fievel Goes West?
It was Fievel in this one, yeah.
Will you at least admit that it was an emergency pick?
No, I won't.
I love the pick.
I had it written down in my notebook, and part of the time that I was missing last week or 3 weeks ago, was I had to go find my notebook, and also I couldn't decide which of the ones that I'd written down and why I'd written them down. So
Jordan's list of westerns,
extensive.
his sacred notebook of westerns.
So yeah, that gives us 4 yeses and 1 shitty no. Pappy, what does that make this movie?
It makes it a wedding cake because you just got to announce that you were engaged, and I tried to toss it to you on Aladdin, and you shut me down. I said, Jordan, what's new in your life? You're like, oh, nothing. And that really pissed me off.
My bad, yeah.
You just casually dropped, oh, my fiance, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to shut you down before, man. Whoops.
No, go ahead, but it's your announcement. Go ahead.
It's been announced. So that's wedding cake, apparently. Do we toss it to Spoiler Man before or after trivia?
10-year freezer wedding cake, maybe.
In between the trivia winner and their pick.
Gotcha. So
freezer wedding cake is gross, by the way.
Say like 2-day-old, a little bit stale cake, maybe. If you're new to spoilers, we do trivia at the end of every episode to determine the winner and who gets to choose next week's episode. I have 2 choices here for trivia. Do you guys want to do a shoddy Jordan list that will be contested for sure, or do you want to do a simple closest to?
Shoddy.
Yeah, you're under an hour right now. You're doing well.
All right, great. Okay.
I want to get mad about something.
All right. So Windows got to be closed. No Wikipedia up right now.
Do you need an order real quick?
Yes, that would be great.
I'm
So
last.
Brett was Nice Guys.
I was Indy.
Indiana Jones. I was Aladdin. Then Josh. So Brett, Mikey, Pappy, Josh.
So I get a huge advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to explain the game, and then Josh, since you're worst, I'm going to let you choose if you want to go first or last. Basically, how this is going to go is there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Shit, this is great on-air admin here. Like 15, 18, 20-ish different animals.
30.
Around 20 different animals that are in this movie as named characters. And I also put a few extras in that play significant parts but don't necessarily have a name. So I'll kind of cut you some slack there. But we're basically just going to do kind of a round table, and you just have to name animals. If you name an incorrect animal, you're out.
Like the species of animal, or it's like character name?
No, like the type of animal. So,
okay.
I'm trying to think. Like,
okay,
cool. Yeah, I'll go first.
It.
I'll go first.
I'm in.
So Josh gets
Do you have to
choose.
prove it? Do you have to prove it?
No, I'll go second.
We'll go prove it for the very, very last one, and then I have a tiebreaker if you can't prove it.
Can I go second, or do I have to go first or last?
First or last, because you're going to set the order for.
Why would you go second? What?
I got special.
Why would you go second?
Well, okay. Well, I'll go first then.
Sense.
All right. Rattlesnake.
Yes. Babby.
Chameleon.
See, that's why I wanted to go second.
What?
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
You still got one. Yeah. Chameleon was Rango. Mikey.
Rango.
Moles.
Moles. Yup.
Turtle.
I'll give you tortoise.
Tortoise, yeah.
Oh.
His name's like...
way.
His name's like...
I'll let it slide.
His name is Turtle.
The hawk.
Species.
Yeah, Turtle the tortoise.
Yeah, that's a nickname.
Hawk.
Josh, back to you.
Hawk.
Yes. That was one of the ones that was unnamed, but major player. Pappy?
Crow. The bird. The engine bird.
I'll allow crow since I allowed turtle.
That's not a crow, though.
Vulture, crow, they're really close.
No.
No?
Wait, that's a vulture?
It didn't look like a vulture.
It was an eagle. Badly injured bird is an
listed
eagle.
as vulture.
Vulture and eagle, like, look very similar up in the sky.
He said crow.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I thought it was a crow. If it's not if that's a vulture, then I'll
Okay, yeah.
Well, this is part of the game.
Pappy,
Part of the game,
I
fellas.
told you.
You guys chose shoddy list.
That is
You chose
insane.
shoddy list.
Josh, what did you say?
No,
Mike, you're up.
closest to. Back to
I said
closest
hawk.
to.
No.
Josh, what did you say, Hawk?
Yeah.
You said hawk.
121 million.
That's not closest to Pappy. Get the fuck out. You're out. Mikey.
Bats.
Bats. Yes.
Me?
For Christ's sake.
Gila monster.
Ooh, nice. Your boy.
Mm-hmm. You knew it.
Josh?
Armadillo.
Ooh, nice.
Yes. Roadkill. Josh. Mikey.
Is frog one of them?
Bro.
No.
I thought a guy says he's an amphibian. Maybe that was the Gila monster.
Sorry, Mikey. Brett, you're up.
Well, that's shoddiness of the game.
Indeed.
I think Beans is an iguana.
Beans is an iguana.
Whew.
Josh.
Oh. Crow.
Bruce Lee's son. Oh man, give me like a couple of seconds here.
Take your time, man.
How many have we gotten right so far, Jordan? Like, how far through the list are we?
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There's a lot of like nondescript, just hairy animals running around.
There's like 8, 9-ish left.
Good boy number 1. Good boy number 2.
Man, this is tough.
A lot of dead air here, Josh.
Yeah, that can easily be edited out.
Long water sips.
It could have been edited out, but now it can't be
edited out. Oh my gosh.
All
okay.
All right now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say. Oh my gosh.
Any critter.
There's none left. Chipmunk.
Ooh. Definitely not.
No.
Right?
Bobcat.
Brett.
Okay, do I have to?
You gotta prove it, and if you can't, then it'll go to closest to.
I'm like 100% positive there's this one animal in there, but Mikey's saying frog and not getting it right makes me double take. The little itty bitty Abigail Breslin, I looked at it way earlier. She is some sort of a mouse.
She is a cactus mouse, and that is correct.
Wow.
Excellent call. Nobody got human.
Dude, there was definitely what scared me about Mike. There was definitely like a horned toad.
Yes, there is a horned toad.
That was gonna be my desperation one.
Boy. Frog and toad,
or the owl.
As if they're not close enough.
Toad.
Again, you chose the shoddy game.
What else was
that's
there,
what
Jordan?
you got. Roadrunner.
Oh
yeah.
I with that. Yeah,
Okay.
I remember that.
Raccoon,
That's what the guy rode.
Owl. Rabbit. Human. That was it.
Rabbit, but chipmunk. Such a bad guess.
Crow.
Yes, they're not close.
There's no chipmunks in the desert.
Dumbass.
This movie sucked.
Take it away, Spoiler Man.
Spoiler Man here. Our email is podcastspoilers@gmail.com. Twitter is @spoilers_pod. Our Instagram is Podcast Spoilers. It's lit. Josh Hensley from the Rutabaga wrote our theme song. Our spoilers hotline is 903-776-4507. That's 903-SPOIL07. Please support this podcast by leaving us an iTunes review. To do this, 1. Search for movie spoilers. 2. Click on our orange Spoilers Bowl logo and scroll all the way to the bottom. 3. Leave us some stars and some words. Now you can check us out on Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, Apple, and Google Podcasts. If you enjoyed what you heard today, subscribe on SoundCloud or iTunes.
Another Brett movie.
Brett, how long you need?
Damn, I wanted to choose Commando this week.
Brett to Brett.
So good. I'm picking like the least fun movie.
Good.
Great news.
You guys have all seen it, and you guys all gave it really high ratings, and it's a Brittany in my pick, so it's on our scratch off. So I apologize, but I think it'll be fun, but not fun because it's like the darkest movie ever.
Well,
good.
Are you going to tell us, or do you want me to like ramp up to it?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
We should do.
You seemed like you were ramping up to it. I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh no, yeah, yeah. So this is my wife and I picked this one. We are going to be watching, I think, the neo-noir thriller 7.
Oh.
Okay.
Dark.
Interesting pick.
It's either going to be that or E.T. and Brittany wanted 7. So
Speaking of
controversial
dark movies, 7.
Kevin Spacey.
yeah,
Movie
Kimmy,
Club.
let's we can get that out of the way
So
early on.
join us
I guess,
next
but-
week for 7.
3 Movie Club. Kevin Spacey.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Mikey. Thank you, Pat. Josh. Thanks for joining us, I guess.
Love you, brother.
That was Rango.
Love you, brother.